Name is Shirley Satterfield. I am fourth of six generations in Princeton. My family has been here since the 1870s. My grandmother, Annie Van Zant May, was like the everything to our family, and she's the one who knew Paul Robeson. In fact, my whole family knew Paul Robeson. She taught Paul Robeson in the School for Colored Children. At the time that I grew up, and when my parents were there, it was a segregated Princeton. And so we had a colored school, we had the colored Y, we had colored churches, we had the colored section of the cemetery. So, and we could not shop, we were not welcomed at stores on Nassau Street. So our community, which is now known as the Witherspoon-Jackson Historical and Cultural Society, Witherspoon-Jackson Historical Society, no, that's not right. The Witherspoon-Jackson community. My organization is the Witherspoon-Jackson Historical and Cultural Society to research, to save, to share, and to respect the history of African Americans in Princeton. I knew Paul Robeson through my grandmother because when he came back to Princeton to perform, he came to visit my grandmother, who I said before taught him in 1904 and 1905. She has a register of all of the boys in her class. And in that register, it says Paul Robeson, age 6, 13 Green Street. That's where he lived when his father moved from the house where he was born because his father was dismissed from Witherspoon Street Presbyterian Church. I knew Einstein because when I was younger, I would go to work with my mother. My mother worked at the Institute for Advanced Study. She was one of the cooks. And there's a picture of her in a book called Einstein on Race and Racism. And when I went to work with her, when Einstein came for lunch, and I guess it was other than lunch, he would take me for a walk around the Institute. And I remember going in his office. Now, I was really young then, and no one told you that he was a rich, well-known person. I just knew him as a nice man who had all of his hair, and he wore sandals, and he walked with a cane. But yes, I knew both of them. Einstein used to come into our community and sit on our porches and talk with us because he knew what it was like to live in a segregated Princeton because of how he was treated in Germany.
Join Miss Satterfield and I at Albert Paul Film on Instagram for the full conversation where she shows never before seen paraphernalia from Dr. Einstein's home and shares stories of Paul and his children and their grandchildren celebrating relationship with their family through the decades. To learn more about the impactful true story of the friendship of Dr. Albert Einstein and Paul Robeson, please go to @AlbertPaulFilm on Instagram.